Hi everyone. Okay, so this week we set up our Twitter accounts. My handle is going to be at CT Elephant Notes. Um, and basically I just mimic the name of my blog just to keep it consistent. And I also kind of wanted to be a little bit careful about revealing my identity since I am involved with the party to some capacity. So as you can see here, I set up my Twitter profile. This is a screenshot. I tried to stick with the Republican red, and I still use the same elephant picture that's the slider on my blog. So again, just creating a consistent identity. Um, so my strategy here is a little bit different than my overall strategy because for the people I'm looking to attract reporters, I've already gotten a few reporter follow backs, which has been awesome. And basically, the main objective here is to get some sort of a retweet from a political reporter. I think that this will um, validate me, um, in the political spectrum, as well as my blog. And plus, it helps with clout as well as, getting new followers on there. My strategy for this is going to be just continuing to tweet relevant news like I've been doing this week in order to get noticed by reporters and see if I can get follow backs by doing that. The hashtag search I used was CTGOP and CT Politics. Um, and basically, you can see Aaron Stewart for North Branford, AFP Connecticut, which is basically trying to get a more profitable Connecticut. It's kind of a capitalism venture. And then a couple of influencers here, Michael Hannon, James F. McGovern, who is a candidate, Penny for Connecticut. And these are kind of all people who I found doing the hashtag search. Um, and I followed them. I mean, obviously, I know some of these people already since I'm familiar with the community, especially Penny. She's one of our state reps who works in the caucus. She's also one of the deputy leaders. She's running for LG, so she's a good person to follow. So that's what I found during my hashtag search. And who I'm following, like I said, because I'm familiar with my community already, it wasn't hard for me to decide on who to follow. So, candidate for mayor Aaron Stewart, House Republican Campaign Committee, political desk from the New Haven Register, J.R. Romano, who's the director of Americans for Prosperity, that's the AFP that I was referring to earlier. Connecticut Dems, just to be fair and see what they're putting out there. Americans for Prosperity, the Connecticut chapter. More candidates here for Town Council in Bloomfield, Connecticut. Again, found him doing my hashtag search. The Republican National Committee. Continuing down the line here, Rick Green, reporter, Connecticut Mirror, news outlet, CT News Junkie, news outlet, Connecticut GOP, self-explanatory, Hartford Courant, New Haven Register, Penny Bakayaki, we already discussed her. Greenwich Time, again, like I said, I'm following tons of news sources here. New Haven Independent, The Hour, The Day, WNPR's Where We Live, WTIC's 1080, Danielle Altamari, she's a Capitol reporter for The Current. And the Republican American, WTNH, CT House Republicans, Jason Perlow, one of our deputy leaders, Larry Cafaro, the minority leader of the House Republican Caucus, Themis Claridis, again, another deputy leader, Dave Lamel, who is also active in the party. And then for influencers, I talked about Don Pesci a couple weeks ago, so I followed him on Twitter. I also followed Larry. You could see he's got a lot more followers than Don does, so I thought it would be good to follow him. And then my tweets this week, for those of you who don't live in Connecticut, on Monday we had allegations break of from 7 women saying that UConn mishandled their sexual assault cases. They filed a federal complaint, and Gloria Allred is their attorney, so this is going to be a high-profile case. Very embarrassing on the university's part just to even have this going on. And obviously doesn't look well on Connecticut's part, but this has been huge politically this week because Dan Malloy first came out and said that Connecticut has been safer since he's been governor. Um, and right after he says that, we have, these rape cases come out, and then we have a nightclub shooting down in New Haven this weekend. Um, right after, just a few months after we passed the toughest gun laws in the country. So there's been a lot to work with this week. What I've been doing is linking to articles and videos of the press conferences on the Yukon rape cases. Larry Cafaro and John McKinney came out. They're the Republican leaders, basically demanding investigation into what's going on in Yukon. They sent a letter to the Education Committee, Dan Malloy, Nancy Wyman. So I retweeted Larry and his letter. I've been retweeting GOP about, Dan Malloy. It's kind of been a big week up there. In addition to those two things, Dan Malloy just got back from a fundraising trip in California. And they've raised an astronomical amount of money. What's being questioned is how much was raised outside of the state, and unfortunately, we won't get to know those numbers until next year because, he went to the trip after the paperwork had to be submitted. So far they're boosting about $157 million in fundraising, and just kind of odd that the contrast, it's about $100 million difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. So like I said, there's been a lot to toy around with this week, and I've been keeping up with all of it. So those are the content of my tweets this week. Here's my analysis. Not many click-throughs, but then again, I didn't really start tweeting until the end of the week, so I wasn't expecting this to be, too much. I don't really have a lot of, no data for any clicks, no tap refers, but what's interesting is that I'm getting tons of follow backs, so obviously something's working here. So that's about it for this week. My initial thoughts on Twitter, where it is effective, I don't think that it's the best for starting a conversation. I think that's really more Facebook because it's all streamed into one place. Really Twitter is more of like a quick, like, I absolutely agree with you, but it's not really like going back and forth in commentary. I think Facebook is more useful for that. Where I do think Twitter comes on top is just informing people because it's a streamline of news, and I think that that's where it kind of trumps Facebook. But other than that, I don't think it's going to be useful for starting a conversation, which is what I hope to do. But I think it will be useful in terms of getting relevant news out there and promoting my blog. So that's it for this week, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks.